you're here for more Hunter x Hunter, and I'm not gonna completely disappoint, at least. At least there's anime for you to watch. And the king is still playing board games. The Chimera ants are still running around doing their own thing, especially the lion taking over a skill of his friend. Actually, being able to tell whether or not they've been completely vaporized or not is quite useful. Whether or not you've got them in your debt and able to use their own Nen skills to your own, well, whims. But yeah, it's kind of interesting seeing the same sort of deal with Kurapika having a condition put on the skill. Oh, this can only be used against the spiders. Whereas the Cheetos are, well, as if I get caught, I can never use the skill again. Yeah, fair enough. There is one surefire way to amp up the power and amplitude of whatever it was it is going to do. But I really would like to know what would have happened if the 8 hours had ran out. Because I have to use my imagination. But before then, there's another episode of Hunter x Hunter, and hopefully you are eager to watch it. If that's the case, get yourself a drink. Let's begin. Yes. The strategy that she came up with, she birthed into existence, didn't want to snuff it out. A reason why the king might be slightly pissed. In fact, at every turn, she seems to be one step ahead, too much of a master of this game to be able to overcome. I mean, the story and tale that she spun here, I wonder if he is actually getting incredibly annoyed about not being able to overcome this Gungi champion, or if the idea of the battle and its constant ongoing is actually something that he is thoroughly anticipating each time. And I just had a thought about, if the king hadn't started this selection and was systematically removing the entire population, he hasn't really done anything, at least not that I can remember, that would have a reason for the hunters and everyone to go after him. So if he just went to the supermarket and bought some all of his food from there instead, he can continue to just enjoy board games. Well, overthrowing dictators and it's in the grey area of evil. He's constantly on the back foot with her moves. The fact that she seems to be one step ahead of every kind of normal strategy that he's employing, and when he's trying something new, it can always be better. She's ready and waiting. Here to play more Gungi. Ah. At least she learned how to breathe through her mouth, but I might agree with that. I mean, the game and life, invariably separate things there. I wonder if they ever use that TV there. For this match? Let's make it interesting. I mean, he's somewhat confident in his victory, or at least getting close to it. Hmm. Don't make her think too hard. Anything she wants, the left arm. I think that's a fairly good deal. He thinks he's got some sort of upper hand here, doesn't he? But does is there anything that she would actually want? Is this a bet that would actually benefit her in any way? At least get her a tissue. Instead of her arm, what we've got a counter offer here. She usually bets. I mean, without the victory, she doesn't have a reason to exist. Once again, the ideals of this girl is just too confusing for him. So if she loses a Gungi, there's nothing else that she's got. Yeah, as I kind of said before, but so you have to be at the top echelons of players to be able to have anything. Hmm. And continue to win. Yep. I see. Then the family starts to starve. They can't live. So all this time she's been basically betting her life along the way. So what's the difference here? Even though she's the breadwinner. So it's not really a bet then, is it? But since she's already set this limitation on herself anyway. Even if he wins, he loses. We're going to be here for another half hour while she thinks. There's no space for anything else in that mind. She's confident. A somewhat purity in ignorance and whatnot, but the fact that all she's thinking about there is Gungi. Huh. Would he oblige if she had one, then? She would not play more another game of Gungi with him if she had asked for that. Well, self-imposed punishments there. I mean, she's not entirely sure what the hell's just happened, to be fair. I mean, if anything, this has definitely thrown her off her stride. Might make the game slightly difficult. And he holds by his words there, apparently. Ah, doesn't interrupt him. So be it. There. He's going to keep pressing to have his arm put back on, no matter what. Well, that's an order, so he kind of has to now. Is she going to interject at all? Now, his men and his rival in Gugi here. Yeah, do it properly. You haven't won a match yet. You can't claim to be the best. That is some resolve, not just for herself, but for both his well-being, and I guess the royal guards there. How was she managing to win out against the king and his temperament? You would have noticed any large movements and whatnot? Ah. They're talking about the fact that Nefertiti has been called away to help the king. Benefits them greatly. There's a lot of kind of assuming here, but also the fact that it's somewhat correct. Oh yeah, and since they think that the recon with the dragonflies is safely locked up in his end dimension, how long is it going to be before the lion makes his move? Same goes to him. So we've already seen Morel win over Cheetu, and now we've got these three. I don't think much of the two in behind, but the lion might pose a bit of an issue since he's adaptable with the various abilities he can take on. Toy repair, Dr. Live. I think I see how Death Patel carried out her experiments with Kite now. Reading all those books and practicing on, oh no, I've forgotten his name. The hunter dude. It's kind of like I don't know if it's a better version or... Well, like the Phantom Troop girl with the stitches. Where she reattached Sokka's arm. It's kind of like a version of that, but with a much more terrifying face on the front of it. I see. I do like how he just kind of monologues and has internal thoughts about it. More grass. We've seen Morel create smoke grass before, but creating his own little giddy suit. What's that bush moving out there in the distance? Now we're getting blueprints. I'd prepare a lot more than that. If it doesn't have a limitation on the number of them, but... okay, there we go. It's good that we've got a somewhat limitation on his ability there, where he needs to set up the entrances and exits and whatnot in advance. He can't just have them wherever he wants at any point. And that's when maybe the chairman can get in and do something. And end it for once and for all there. The fact that he's going into this knowing that there's a possibility, if nothing else, that a lot of them, if not all of them, will not make it out of it. As soon as she finishes the surgery, though, he'll be in a lot of trouble. How long is this opportunity going to last? And the fact we've just spent a while with him slowly edging forward. He can always just kind of dip out, if he's fast enough at least, should the end get reactivated and she can sense him. Three humans not intended as food. Well, one being the Gungi player. Fair enough. What a great introduction to some... Okay. Behind the scenes, he was the true... okay, so we've got a puppet leader. Double puppet leader now, but... the true... kind of bureaucrat crap behind it. He's just left to his own devices to keep the country running out of the king's hands, so he doesn't have to bother with it. Fair enough. there'd be no point, as the previous ruler kind of found out. Mm-hmm. Okay. So we've got a cluster and a rundown of everything in this place right now. So some, should they come in and say, I want to kill the king, right? Alright then, just whatever you want, really. Doesn't bother me. Gotcha. The fact the inner workings of is the best and last time for him to sneak. The inner workings of this castle, this ragtag bunch. He's expecting them to be like any other organization, but at least his job looks relatively cushy. He's left alone, not just immediately murdered and the like. But he's taking certain enthusiasm in this, and oh, okay, I see. He's going through it like a Amazon wish list, right? What are the reviews? Is he enamored? Thinker. Well, he's made a selection, you know. Express delivery. So, somewhat spared from the selection process in some ways. Pam. Well, she's got to pull her weight somehow. Infiltrate as well. Yeah, they're great at working undercover, getting inside. We've seen her have a bit of progress. What's the word I was going to use? Got a bit of experience, at least, of dressing up. We've seen it with Gon's date that he had. I wonder if the dude will regret his decision once the hair dye and makeup come off and whatnot. But it really is interesting how we've got all of this going down. We've got the eradication of so many people, and yet the king is just like, I don't understand this one. I want to play some board games in Gungi. And I really wonder if he would have kept up his end of the deal if she had have requested his own life. Obviously, he would be the one to have to take it, because the guards really wouldn't be okay with any of that. And when are we seeing more octopus? I wonder how many people in the comments are going to be angry I called him octopus. And you're out of the royal guards that we've seen. We've got Nefertiti's N, her puppet control, or the now surgical mastery, the toy repair. Apart from the big red dude, which we saw him kind of mutate his body to grow wings in a previous one to fly up to the top, but not seeing him do anything. But what about... I had his actual name for a brief second in my mind, so I'm just going to call him Shia LaBeouf. What has he actually done? We've seen him be a musical maestro and kind of the etiquette and somewhat pomposity of the Royal Guard, but what are his abilities? I do like that, despite being how tremendously powerful and scary they all are, being the Royal Guards, the fact that they are willing to lay down their own lives no matter what, even if it's just to repair the king's arm in a timely fashion. Because their sole duty is to take care of the king. Once he is no more, then... well, they'll have no purpose. I wonder what they'll do with themselves. Considering we had such a long explanation of what's the goings on in this palace is like, with how little amount of personnel there are, and then spending inside the head of Nov and his approach up to it. I don't think it's going to go without a hitch, but seemingly a lot easier than if it was infested with people that would usually be there guarding the place. Poor Morel, he's not going to catch a break, is he? He spent a couple of hours playing with Cheetu, and now he's got the others on his back. Good thing he is more of the competition than Nov, but still, I'm just thinking how the Lion's ability is going to backfire. I think being able to borrow the power from anyone around you, and them not being able to use it during that time, is kind of like what we saw with the boss of the Phantom Troop, actually. He could also somewhat borrow, but I see there's some overlaps. You know, abilities can't be entirely unique. There's only so many configurations you can have. I do like how in Hunter x Hunter we have so much time with the other side, with the big bad antagonists and the like. We've got the likes of the king, the royal guards, and everyone kind of being fleshed out a bit more. It's not just, oh, evil plans, rah, 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 evil, evil. It's more complex than they've got their own personalities, and we're learning bits and bits about them, but kind of like how it's been all the way through. No one's just... some people are victims of circumstance. We've seen how certain characters have been pushed down the road that they have. They're not just evil for the sake of it. Mostly, because of Gon's kindness and willingness to help out anyway. Some of them have been somewhat redeemed. Do think it's going to be mighty difficult, though, with once you can't even understand certain emotions and ways of thinking. Talking of Gon, how's he getting on, especially after making the new friend and somewhat introducing him to some of the other hunters, being Knock and Shoot? I have to find out. There's more Hunter x Hunter next week, actually. If you're enjoying it, let me know. Leave a like and a comment down below. Consider subscribing. There's so much going on. Sometimes it's hard to process it all in one sitting. But I really do not like that slimy bureaucrat looking... I don't even have a proper noun for him that I can use. Not about avoiding certain YouTube policies about language. But at least, there's certain ways in. It's not just sneaky, crawl through the undergrowth kind of ways of getting in. You can walk through the front door if you've been ordered. Still, we'll see how that goes down and how much he'll regret his decision. And whether or not, buying in bulk was actually cheaper than individual items. We'll see in future ones. Make sure you're there. Maybe subscribe to the channel if I haven't said that already. But for now, get yourselves a drink. relax, get some rest. I'll see you in the next one.